Now, we've talked about A, ask questions and be aware of your surroundings. We talked about L, listen for links to leverage. Let's talk about E. E is engage in your future network and your future environment. Now, what does that mean? Engage in your future network and your future environment. That's right. Now, as I reflect on my endeavors, when I thought about the next step of where I was going to go, I would try to engage in the atmosphere that next step was in. For example, I knew when I was a clerk, I knew when I started out that I wanted to be over a major operation. I didn't know what it was. I just knew I wanted to be over something big. And so as I applied the ask questions and listen for links to leverage, you know, there were people that were already in my life that had similar positions. So every time I had an opportunity, I would ask them questions. I would say, tell me what it's like to do what you do. Tell me what a day in the life of being a major operations leader, tell me what that's like. And I would get those answers and think about it. I would think about it and, I wonder if that's for me. One time I had an opportunity that really changed my life. A friend of mine, I'll never forget it, Daryl Isabel. This was years ago. I was single, living in an apartment, and each Friday night the guys would come over after their jobs, and we just sit around and hang out and talk about things. And he came over one Friday and said, hey, I'm gonna be back. You guys gonna be hanging out today? I said, yeah, we're gonna be hanging out. He says, well, I gotta run up and do payroll and get ready for the next week. And he said, Dave, do you wanna come with me? Now I know that had to be God, because why? Out of everybody in the room, he said, Dave, do you wanna come up there with me? And I said, yeah. So I jumped in the car with him. My roommate stayed there with the other folks. Jumped in the car, and all the way up to this job, I was asking questions about it, asking him information and learning from him and listening. And then I got to the operation, and he walked in, and here's this major operation. I thought, wow, this is sort of what I was thinking. This is what I thought it would be like. Okay, so then I'm going in with him, I'm watching him operate, and folks are coming up to him, talking to him. He's going into his office, and I'm listening to this thing. I said, wow, I think I can do this. I think I can do this. So what I started learning from that, as I look back, I saw myself different times along the way engaging in my future environment. If you're saying that you're going to be something, you don't wait until it comes before you become that. Decide you're that right now. You can do that. You can decide this is what I am, not what I'm going to be. So I would also do that as I receive promotions along the way. For example, when I would go to conferences, I would make sure that there were at least 5 people that I met that were probably 2 or 3 levels above me. So if I was a manager, I would make sure that I was going to meet and get to know either a vice president or a CEO of a company. And so what does that do? What does that do? You're engaging in your network, you're engaging in your future environment, and you become a name that they recognize and know. So it's almost like to say, before I got some of these promotions, I was welcomed because folks already knew about me and they knew who I was. So that's just one way that you can engage in your future environment and new network. If you're thinking about becoming, let's say, a lawyer, okay? And it doesn't matter what you want to become. Whatever it is, you think about things that you can engage in that relate to becoming a lawyer, okay? There's a lot of things that you can find out on the internet. There's organizations that you can learn about, but there's things and there's people that you can try to find out, you know, who's in your area, who's in your local city or whatever. You can try to meet those folks and ask those questions and listen, okay? And engage yourself into your future network and new environment.